Hello, Thrivers. I think we're live. I'm just going to open up the chat and just make sure that we've got connection here. Normally, I see somebody like our lovely Faye or somebody else that will confirm that for me. It looks like we've got connection. Okay, hopefully we're streaming to YouTube as well. Okay, it looks like we are good to go. So, hello, Thrivers, and welcome to another deeply transformative episode of Thriver TV. Today, we're diving into a topic that I hope is going to give you profound clarity, and it's going to help you break free from the destructive cycle of narcissistic abuse. Hi, Kate. Hi, Faye. Hi, Leslie. We're going to look at why narcissists are spiritually bankrupt. And if you've ever felt depleted, confused, or drained in a relationship with a narcissist, which of course you have, this episode is going to provide you with a deeper understanding of why this has happened. We'll explore the spiritual void that drives a narcissist's behavior, how this affects you, and most importantly, how you can reclaim your own spiritual abundance and thrive. So this isn't just about surviving narcissistic abuse. It's about stepping into a life that is rich, full, and aligned with your true self. So, if you're ready to stop being held back and start living abundantly, no matter what you've been through, this episode is definitely for you. Before we begin, I want to set a powerful intention with you to ground ourselves into the energy of truth, freedom, and empowerment. And whether or not you're here live or you're listening to this on the recording, this, I believe, is really going to help you. So I just want you to open your heart and relax your muscles and just take some deep breaths. And make sure your heart is open to receive this transmission, and then repeat after me. I am in the process of releasing all ties to lack, pain, and fear so that I may fully align with the infinite flow of spiritual abundance that is my birthright. So just let that feeling soak through your body. Just breathe it in and let it nestle in the cells of your body. Now, if this is where you want to go, and if this resonates with you, thriving and not just surviving, I want you to drop a thrive on in the comments below. And if you're new here, welcome to the Thriver community, because you're in the right place to not just learn about narcissists and narcissistic abuse, but to heal, transform, and reclaim your best life, which is the work that I've been helping people from over 150 different countries do for the last 20 years. Now, before we dive deeper into today's topic, if you're feeling stuck, drained, or struggling to move past the pain of narcissistic abuse, I want to let you know about a powerful tool that has already transformed thousands of lives, including my own. And this is my Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program, which is known as NARP. This program is designed to help you release the trauma of narcissistic abuse, reconnect you with your true self, and shift you out of survival mode and into thriving. Plus, you receive the support of a global community, and one small payment, which is the only one you ever do, grants you lifetime access, including weekly live coaching sessions with me. NARP is the cornerstone of healing in this community, and as a NARP member, you no longer have to try to heal alone. It's helped so many thrivers reclaim their lives, and it can do the same for you. If you're ready to take this first step towards freedom, you can learn more and join at melanietoniaevans.com/NARP, which is NARP, and you can also enter Thrive 30, or the one word in the coupon code, because I have a Black Friday special of 30% off. Now, I never discount NARP. This is the only time of year that I ever do that, and there's only 2 days left. So Thrive 30 is the coupon code for 30% off, and you'll see all the details in the description above. Okay, so what does it mean to be spiritually bankrupt? Narcissists operate from a state of spiritual bankruptcy, which means that they're disconnected from the essence of life. They're unable to embrace its full range of experience. They're driven by external validation, which means that they're constantly seeking admiration, success, notoriety. The knowing that they affect other people emotionally, intensely is A-grade narcissistic supply, and it's all about control to fill their inner empty void. They're highly avoidant of discomfort, which means that they're unwilling to face their own wounds, their pain, or their true emotions. They don't self-partner, and they disown their inner beings. They're manipulative of life and others. They use deceit and control to maintain their fragile ego, which is always poised on a thin trigger line if they don't receive the right amount of narcissistic supply. So they are always trying to monitor and control what their ego is or isn't getting, rather than co-creating from a place of inner alignment. At their core, narcissists are cut off from their own spiritual essence. This is so important. They are cut off from their own spiritual essence. This disconnection immediately leaves them feeling empty and dependent on external sources like you to sustain their fragile sense of self. So why do narcissists leave you feeling drained? When you're in a relationship with a narcissist, their spiritual bankruptcy impacts you in powerful ways. They take without giving. Narcissists can't share or contribute in a meaningful way because they have no internal abundance to draw from. They certainly don't share with you in an intimate, authentic way. They don't share their feelings with you. They don't want to even self-partner their own feelings or understand them. So how are they going to share or understand yours? They leave you depleted because of their spiritual bankruptcy by feeding off your energy, your attention, your validation, your empathy. They drain you emotionally, physically, and spiritually, leaving you with very few reserves. Narcissists create chaos and confusion, which is actually a mirror of what's really going on inside of them. Their manipulation and their gaslighting disconnect you from your own intuition, your own spiritual reserves, your own spiritual connection, and your own sense of truth. And that puts you into spiritual bankruptcy too. That's the darkness that they draw you into, which leaves you feeling lost and powerless. This is why narcissistic relationships are so devastating. This is a battle for your soul, which means your spiritual fullness or your bankruptcy. You're not just dealing with toxic behaviors. You're dealing with somebody who is fundamentally incapable of connecting to the deeper flow of life and love. Now let's have a look at the difference between spiritual abundance and spiritual bankruptcy, because this is really important. Let's contrast the narcissist's spiritual bankruptcy with that state of spiritual abundance. Spiritual abundance is being able to be fully connected to life, embracing both joy and pain as part of the journey. Being able to be comfortable with accepting what is and processing that and self-reflecting and being able to self-soothe. And, in this community with NARP and Quantum Freedom Healing, we upshift out of the triggers into greater expansion and wholeness. So this is what spiritual abundance is. It's about being able to be whole and content and keep working on our inner and outer expansions regardless of external circumstances. And in fact, using external circumstances as either validation that we're on track or the impetus or the grist to upshift and change and expand an aspect of ourselves to be able to create more fulfilling experiences. This means being a co-creator of experiences, shaping life from a place of inner alignment and working authentically with that. Trusting the flow of life, knowing that every moment has purpose. Spiritual bankruptcy means being disconnected from life, avoiding anything that challenges their ego, being dependent on external validation, admiration, and control to try to feel temporarily whole, means being a manipulator of experiences using deceit and exploitation rather than authentic inner co-creation. It means living in fear and lack, unable to trust the natural flow of life, unable to trust the flow of source and the empowerment of source. One of the most devastating effects of narcissistic abuse is how it leaves you feeling completely disconnected from yourself, cut off from the vibrant, confident person that you once were. That self is gone. The constant manipulation, blame shifting, and emotional pain leaves you feeling empty, powerless, and absolutely questioning your worth and questioning your sanity. Just say me in the chat if you've ever felt like that, because I'm sure that you have. Hi, Stephanie from the Sunshine Coast. You're just down the road from me. Couple of thousand kilometres in Queensland. But I want you to know this. There's a way back to you. So let's explore 3 steps to help you take the first gentle strides towards reclaiming your power and healing your soul. And I just want to quickly remind you, if there's anybody you know who's going through the spiritual bankruptcy, share this Thriver TV. Expose them to this information about thriving quantumly from the inside out, because it might just be the absolute key that they need. And also like and comment so that we can push this out through the algorithms. I would highly appreciate that. Okay, so what are the steps? We've got 3 steps. Step 1 is start realizing that you have to release the chains of emotional pain. And that's really the biggest step. And until that happens, you're not going to get free from them. What is so common with narcissistic abuse is it might feel like the narcissist is living rent-free in your mind. And maybe you're constantly replaying their cruel words. You feel paralyzed by guilt or self-doubt. And you can't stop blaming yourself for what happened. And the thing is too, even if you're blaming them and you're resentful for them, your inner being doesn't know the difference between blaming them and blaming you. it's all tearing you apart. That's why the expression, when you're hanging on to the hurt of what somebody's done to you, you're actually taking the poison that is destroying you continually. So please know that what happened to you isn't your fault. And what you're feeling and the obsession that you're going through, it's the result of the emotional and energetic chains that have infiltrated you. And they've infiltrated you in your somatic, emotional, subconscious being. Your mind is thinking about those. The mind follows the body. So healing starts with internally breaking these chains. And with the Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Program, NARP, where there's a 30% discount right now for 2 days, you can begin releasing the deep trauma that has impregnated you, that has hit your emotional, somatic, limbic self and is wedged in the cells of your body. Imagine what it would feel like to wake up and not feel the weight of a narcissist's presence anymore. They're not living rent-free in your mind. They're not crawling through your being like a black sticky ink. And even just one small release starts to give you the first sense of relief, a tiny glimmer of light and space in what was feeling like endless darkness, which is what all of that trauma does. So, step 2 is about reconnecting with the real you. When you've been stuck in the cycle of abuse, it's easy to forget who you truly are. And absolutely, we lose our spiritual abundance, our organic flow. We source all that is the field. And you might feel like your identity has been erased, replaced by the version of yourself that the narcissist wanted you to be. Of course, someone small, silenced, confused, questioning yourself, not knowing your boundaries, your rights, your limits, and not knowing that you can be a source to yourself, because that's where a narcissist needs you to be to feed their false self. Healing is about more than just stopping the pain. It's about rediscovering and reactivating your true self. And this is the part of you that already exists. This is our spiritual abundance. This part of you already exists. The part that is whole, unbroken, and unbreakable, and capable of incredible strength, even if you can't feel it yet. That's that beautiful diamond that is buried under all of the dross of the trauma and the false beliefs. And little by little, as you heal, you will start to hear that voice that knows your worth and guides you back to a life of peace and joy. And maybe you've never had that. Maybe you've had narcissistic abuse even since you were a child. You've never known the voice of peace and joy. But as a human being, organically, it exists. And once you shift that trauma, it comes online. Step 3 in our Thriver community, what we do is we shift from surviving to creating. And this is where a lot of platforms out there are just really merely focused on surviving. And I don't believe that that's enough after the soul contracts that we go through with narcissists. As horrible and as dark as it is the impetus, it's the grit that creates our greatest thriving if we know how to take that opportunity and we know how to shift it. When you're deep in the pain, it's so hard to imagine anything beyond surviving each day. The thought of creating a life you love might feel impossible. And when the trauma exists inside of you and you're trying to survive it, it can be literally impossible. But I promise you, it's not impossible. Unlike a narcissist who leaves their damaged inner being the way it is and will never go to it or take responsibility for it or tend to it, a narcissist manipulates and controls to get what they want. But that's not what you're here to do. You are here to free yourself from internal trauma and co-create a life that aligns with who you really are. And it starts with small steps. And as you start healing, maybe it's a moment of self-kindness where you self-partner and you talk to yourself as you would a child who you adore, instead of trying to shame and blame yourself into shape. Or maybe you have incredible gratitude for something that's so simple and beautiful in your day. As you heal and release trauma, the space for new possibility opens. You start finding yourself feeling stronger and making choices from a place of clarity and confidence, and noticing that you are actually the creator of your reality. The narcissist isn't. And right now, it's okay if you feel broken or hopeless. Many of us have been there. And some of our beautiful thrivers here today absolutely knows what that is, just like I did, where we thought we were never going to get out of this. Healing doesn't require you to be strong, which is another false premise that we've also taken on. It only asks that you take one small step at a time. And knowing what those steps are and being guided and supported on them makes such a difference. And that's what NARP does. Every step brings you closer to the light, back to the truth of who you really are. You are so much more than the pain you've endured. And I really do believe deep down you know that. You've just been trapped and stuck and not known how to get out of it. Because the truth is, your healing and your freedom is waiting for you. You were coded to break through. You were coded to heal. You were never, ever meant to not have your freedom, your healing and your freedom waiting for you. That's what you were designed to do, to heal, to expand, to go towards well-being. The journey from 3D to 5D consciousness is an important one, and a lot of you are realizing that I've come out and I'm talking about this a lot now. Because third density, fear, pain and suffering is all to do with narcissism and victimhood. Whereas 5D consciousness is about us doing the inner work to rise up out of that. Narcissistic abuse is synonymous with 3D. In fact, our planet has been trapped and programmed into 3D, and it keeps you trapped in a 3D reality, which is a state of fear, survival and limitation, and believing that that's your life and you're stuck with that and that's how the world is meant to be, which none of that is true. In this state, when we're narcissistically abused, you're constantly reacting to the narcissist's manipulation, unable to detach, transcend beyond and connect to your higher self. But your healing journey is about ascension. And you might have heard that word's being talked about a lot in communities lately. And this is about spiritual abundance. Ascension is moving from the fear-based constraints of 3D into the love, unity, and abundance of 5D consciousness. Now, these aren't logical concepts. This is quantum inner work that helps us lose our false self, the parts of ourselves that are not our organic self, that have been programmed and traumatized as overlays, losing that dross to reignite who we really are underneath that. And it's such a more durable, easier and powerful way to heal through the body. In 5D, you're no longer defined by the narcissist or your past. Instead, you're released. You go free to be empowered and keep growing and learning and living as your true self. And what that does, it aligns you with your highest purpose. You start co-creating a life of joy, freedom, and meaning. And you start drawing people into your life that have capacity, people who have a conscience. They're not perfect, nobody is, and neither are we, but they have empathy, they have the right intention, they want to share life force. They don't want power over, power under, which narcissists do. And people who do take responsibility and lean into joy for their own growth. And I promise you, there are more people than ever now, ever, in this planet's awakening. That is accelerated extremely over the last few years. There are more people than ever now taking this path because they realize there's something a lot more to us than the suffering, or accepting that that's what we're meant to do. So if today's episode resonates with you and you're still deep in the throes of crippling narcissistic abuse, I highly recommend checking out my NARC program and the incredible 30% off for this Black Saturday. So don't miss this opportunity if you've been thinking about it to start your healing journey, because it's the only time of year for 2 more days that I discount. If you are already free from the worst of narcissistic abuse and you're ready to take your healing and empowerment to the next level, I warmly invite you to join me for my next Spa for the Soul Ascension workshop, which I do monthly. It's this December. And it's a live donation-based event. If you miss the live, you get the recording. And what we do is we dive into 3 quantum freedom healing shifts that are going to powerfully help you release the pain and the imprints of narcissistic abuse, reconnect you with your spiritual abundance and your true self, and help align you with your highest path of love, freedom, and purpose. So it's easy to get to. You just go to melanietoniaevans.com/ascension. It's a pay what you like event. You'll get all of the details, and there you can claim your seat. And the details are in the description as well. So, I'm sweating. It's so hot here in Cape Trip. It's very humid. All right, so Thrivers, remember this, okay? Remember this. Narcissists are spiritually bankrupt. It doesn't matter what they get or who they gain, they are spiritually bankrupt. It's like a Band-Aid that keeps falling off. It's like George Caitlin said, it's like taping sandwiches onto your jumper and hoping that you've had lunch. They never, ever durably feel whole because they're spiritually bankrupt, okay? It's a living hell, actually. So don't envy them. No matter what it seems like they get, they've never got themselves. But you are not spiritually bankrupt. You wouldn't be in this community, you wouldn't be connecting to my stuff if you were a narcissist. And I know at times you may have questioned that and thought, am I the narcissist? Like, I read things about it and I can relate to it. But the bottom line is you're definitely not, because you do want communion with yourself. You do want healing. You do want a self-partner. You want to be able to have relationships and connection that are fulfilling and true and authentic. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Narcissists don't even want that. That literally makes them nauseous. They don't want that. They may lie to you and tell you they want that, but they don't. They want separation and power over all the time. They don't want connection because they fear that they're going to completely lose themselves, which is the terror of the ego needing significance to have identity. That's not you. Even though we've got our fears, we've got our wounds we need to work on, that is not you. You have got the power to release the influence of a narcissist, reclaim your energy, and align with the infinite, abundant self that is your birthright. Healing isn't just possible, it's inevitable when you align with your true self. So let this episode be a reminder that you are here to thrive, to co-create, to live in love, freedom, and joy. And of course, you're still going to have challenges. We all do. But you have the tools to be able to manage and deal and calm your nervous system and keep up shifting and keep growing forward. Whereas in trauma and narcissistic abuse, we don't. We're in descent. We're not ascending, we're descending. You can get out of that. Okay, so if this episode spoke to you, please, again, like, share, and subscribe on YouTube to help spread the message to others who need it. Because together we're building a Thriver community that uplifts and empowers people after narcissistic abuse with real solution rather than just focusing on what happened to us. All right, so lots of love, Thrivers, and until next time, stay connected to your true self and remember, you were born to rise. Thrive on, everybody. Lots of love. Bye-bye.